Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another StarCraft 2 cast with me, District StarCraft. Today I've got a game from r/castit over on Reddit, which is a pretty cool subreddit. You should check it out totally. You can submit your own replays and have them casted by other community casters. And if you want to try your hand at casting, you can do just that. Just grab a replay and start casting. Anyway, it's going to be a PvZ, and I think this was roughly master level. I think one guy was in diamond and the other in master, so it's going to be a high level game, that's for sure. Let's introduce our players, shall we? Spawning down to the bottom right, it's our red Protoss player, it is Decibel. And his opponent, here on Dusk Towers, on the opposite side of the map, in the blue pieces, it is Sofronel. So Decibel and Sofronel. At least I think that's how they are pronounced. Not 200% sure on that. Just wanted to point this out pretty early on that we have a quick second gas from our Protoss player. We'll see what this turns into. It's going to be a PvZ, of course, so Sofronel has already taken his hatchery first. I mean, Dusk Towers, it's a big map. It's very difficult to go for any sort of early cheeses as Protoss and be super aggressive. And in general, Protoss players do complain quite a lot about this matchup these days. I don't play Protoss anymore myself, but I've heard that PvZ is sort of Zerg favored. I just realized the other day that I haven't put out a whole lot of content for my YouTube channel recently, and it's because I've been caught up with SCV Rush stuff and school casting for this organization. In case you don't know, SCV Rush, we host 4 tournaments every week and I cast for them. But I thought, hey, why not try solo casting a bit for a while? I think it's good practice for just in general game knowledge and for casting skills. So I thought I'd give it a go to solo cast once again for my YouTube channel, mainly for the fun of it as well. Ooh, and a quick third base coming out of Sofronel here. I'm wondering how this is going to turn out for him. Decibel, as I mentioned, did go for that very quick second gas, and as you can see, is already up to 230. So he should be dropping down pretty soon, like some sort of tech at least. Usually that comes down at roughly the 3-minute mark. As you see, we're approaching that right now, but he's only working on Adepts. Adepts only cost 25 gas, so having that second early geyser for now doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Natural Nexus is coming down for Decibel, and as you can see, it's kind of evenly timed with this Zerg third base, so Sofronel is going to be one base up for quite some time, which is what you want to do as a Zerg player. And Decibel is going for this double Stargate play. The weird thing is, I've seen this quite a lot. You know, whenever I'm in school, chilling out, and I don't really have a whole lot of stuff to do, I check out streams on Twitch. And this is what Protoss players have been doing. They go for double Stargate. I'm not quite sure if it's going to go for Phoenix. Probably going to be Phoenix. I mean, you can't really pump out Mass Void Ray. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. At least no one is trying it, so I guess it doesn't make sense. So instead, probably going to be Phoenix or a couple of Oracles. But a lot of Queens are being produced from our Zerg player, so he already is sort of countering it without really knowing it. But Zerg players have always, like in Heart of the Swarm and Legacy Void, focusing a lot on Queen, so that makes sense. Fortunately for Sofronel, he's going to scout this out. He sees double Stargate, he sees a Phoenix in production. In case you don't know, if you look at Stargate, you can see that there's a Phoenix in production there. Looks sort of cool. So he knows the Phoenix are on the way, and does he have a lair? He does not have a lair, and I would kind of advise him to start a lair pretty soon. He's going to need a lot of Hydralisks if he wants to hold these off easily. Spore Crawlers are nice if you want to fend off Phoenix, but the thing is, when you get to like 6 or 7 Phoenixes, you can just come in, pick up 7 drones and leave, and perhaps lose 1 Phoenix, but it's definitely worth it. So you're going to need a lot of Hydralisks or like a ton of Queens spread out everywhere. Creep spread in general when you want to fend off very fast units is very, very important. So luckily for him, he's already got good creep spread on the way. And for now, he's just pumping out drones and still not starting a lair. I don't know if I agree with this. There we go. Finally, it comes down at a natural instead. But as you see, just 1 Spore Crawler here. I don't know about that, man. The thing is, Hydralisks are good against air units. I'm not going to argue against that. But Phoenix are pretty good against light units as well. I can't see the damage, but they deal a lot of damage to light units, and so do Adepts. So If the Hydralisks are in too low numbers, then the Phoenix and Adept still will be able to deal with them. Now with only 4 Phoenix here, I don't think it's going to be able to get too much damage done. As you see, doesn't lose one, barely loses any HP on these, just the shields, and he gets a couple of overloads for his effort, so really nice opener for Decibel right now. See more Spore Crawlers coming down from our Zerg player, and really he needs to do this. He droned pretty hard, but now he's been forced to invest a lot into Spore Crawlers, and as you can see, our Protoss player is actually ahead in the harvest account. And now the ultimate switch up. Double Robo is coming down from Decibel, so looks like he doesn't want to stick to Stargates too long, which I can understand. Definitely, like, Disruptors and Gateway compositions are a lot stronger than just Mass Phoenix. And this was kind of how PvZ was played in Heart of the Swarm. You open up Stargate to force out Hydralisks, and then you tech switched into Robo, you built a shit ton of Colossi, and you basically wrecked everything. Colossi have been nerfed though, but if he's got good disruptor control and he can force out a Hydra army, like Hydra with a couple of roaches perhaps, or Hydra Roach Ravager, and he's got good disruptor control, then our Protoss player is in a very good position. Right now he's even on bases with the Zerg, which since Wings of Liberty has been very good for Protoss players. Lurker then immediately coming in from Sofrnell as that Hydralisk then finishes up, so that's a cool idea. I'm wondering if he's already preparing for the robotic switch, or if it's just, you know, I love lurkers, let's get him. But we'll see. Forge is finally coming in from Decibel. He's going to be slightly behind in the upgrades. As you can see, only Metabolic Boost is done for a Zerg player, but he's researching +1 range attack already. Double Immortal is what's coming in from Decibel, and Immortals have been buffed in Legacy of the Void, so they're really strong against basically all races right now. We see them quite a lot against Terran as well, which is something we didn't do. We didn't see them that often in Heart of the Swarm, in like, because they're not cost effective enough. Immortals weren't that cost effective against Marauder compositions compared to Colossi, just because they cost so much and they generally don't kill as much as Colossi do. That's how I remember it, at least. But more Hydralisks are coming in still from Sofrnell, and it looks like he's going for a good composition so far. The thing is, he's behind in supply, he is behind in harvesters, and he's up against a Protoss player. As a Zerg, you want to generally be up a couple of bases, at least one, and be up on drones as well. So Decibel has got a complete map control at this point, and he's basically containing his Zerg player. What he could do is go for a 4th base, and that is exactly what he's going to do, as well as dropping down 7 more gates, having trouble spending his money apparently, which is understandable since he's constantly controlling these Phoenix. And 2 more Immortals coming in, just building as many units as he can on the back of this, while trying to delay the Zerg expansions and just keeping him in his base for as long as he can. Lurkers are now here, which is very nice for our Zerg player. Clumped up gateway armies take a lot of damage from lurkers, but with good disruptor control and a lot of Immortals, they can be pretty easily dealt with. Also, Phoenix aren't too bad against lurkers because they can pick them up if they have detection, and lurkers floating in the air aren't the most effective of units. Also wanted to point this out, that there are a lot of High Templars coming in from our Protoss player. As you can see, he is already up to 6, and looks like he's going for Archons, does not want to use Storm. I feel like Storm can be effective. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Storm can be really effective against lurkers and just Roach Hydra compositions in general. When I played Protoss and Heart of the Swarm, whenever I got to Colossi and then High Templars, I was feeling really confident, because that's a lot of splash damage, and you can also effectively deal with Infestors, etc., because you have that feedback. But instead, going for the Archons here, I guess things have changed dramatically into Legacy of the Void. Spire is coming in from Sofrnell, and I think this is more like, hey, I want all my tech options available. Because as a Zerg, you can very quickly tech switch, since you don't have to build like factories and barracks. You don't have to build 8 factories to go mech switch. Like, you can just have your hatcheries and have 1 Spire, and there you go. You've tech switched. The Decibel is sticking to this composition that we see a lot in pro games. Just a lot of Immortals. But the thing is, Sofrnell has a couple of changelings here, spotting all of this that is going on. So Sofrnell, I think he just needs a ton of units right now. It's going to be difficult for him to take a cost-effective engagement, so getting up to more bases, which is what he's doing, and having a lot of units can be the way to go for him. Robotics bay coming in rather, and I'm wondering if this is just if Decibel wants to build disruptors, or if this is like, okay, I want to have the tech available, just like it is for the Zerg player. I want to have all the stuff available so that I can tech switch very quickly. But now this is a big force coming out from our Protoss player. This is a lot of Immortals. Charge is not done. It's about 60% done, but these lurkers... Is there even an observer here? Units. There's one. Okay, so one observer here for our Protoss player. I don't know if that is enough. You can lose that very quickly. It's like a random spore crawler or something if you're moving your entire army. But if you can keep that alive, that is going to be very, very important in the upcoming battle. 5 more gates coming in from Decibel. This is really nice. A lot of the times, Protoss players in the lower leagues forget to add on more gateways, which means that they just hover a ton of money. As you can see, Decibel is doing that currently, but that is because he's maxed out. As a Protoss, you want to remax as quickly as possible. Okay, here we go. Engagement taking place. A lot of links have been produced from Sofranel. I think mainly because he's seen a lot of Immortals. Links are good against very strong, bulky units. You can just overwhelm them completely, like Immortals and Thors. But with the charge lots and the Archons here up front tanking a lot of the circling damage, I don't know how effective this army is going to be. Spines are coming down and a lot of lurkers are in position over here. More storms coming down on top of this Hydralisk army, and no splitting is coming down. Fungal could be dropped here by this. No, drop. Oh, okay, no Fungal is going to be dropped. There we go. Fungal coming down on the Immortals. But so many Immortals still remaining here. Hydralisks are effective and they're starting to take them down. Let's have a look at the armor supply. 38 to 67. So our Zerg player here is slowly reinforcing this army, and the lurkers were able to stay alive and eventually clean up the entire army. So a 5th base is up for our Zerg player. He's not quite mining from it, but he was able to keep it alive, which is very important. If Decibel would have cleaned that up, gone for a 5th base of his own on the back of this, then I think he would have been in a much better position. But now since Sofranel was able to keep that alive, he's got more larva available, and he's got a lot of mining in the late game available as well. Colossus range being researched, so he may go into Colossus and not Disruptors later on, which... I gotta be honest, as I mentioned, I play Protoss in Heart of the Swarm and I like my Colossus quite a bit. I think Disruptors are just too difficult to use effectively, especially in the lower leagues. Like, I can't control Disruptors for shit, so I don't like them. But upgrades are looking very even so far. +2, +1 for both players, but +3, +2 coming in for our Protoss. Of course, as a Zerg, you need to get that Hive up. Does he have Hive? He does have Hive. So when you get Hive, then you can research 3-3, but generally, as a Terran or a Protoss player, it is easier to get up to 3-3. You don't need that extra tech. Great Aspire coming in as well, and this is a nice reaction to what the Protoss has. He doesn't have, well, he's got double Stargate, so he can easily tech switch into Tempest, but as we can see, a lot of Zealots are here, which means a lot of ground damage and not a whole lot of air damage. The Phoenix are nice, but they don't really deal a whole lot of damage to non-light units, such as these Broodlords. Now 4 Broodlords and 4 more Corruptors are coming in, and Sofranel, he's playing this out really nicely. He's got a lot of Spines and a lot of Static D to really delay and tank a lot of damage from our Protoss player. Decibel does manage to get a cancel on this hatchery in the low ground, and I like this. Counterattacks are super great as a Protoss in this position, especially, you know, when in Heart of the Swarm, when Swarm hosts were a thing, counterattacks were the best. But a lot of Static D is really the answer as a Zerg. You want to drone up a lot, get a shit ton of drones, and then place all your money into Spines and just get a huge army. Decibel was able to clean up a lot of the Static D though with the Zealots, and if Sofranel doesn't rebuild, which he now does, then Decibel could have utilized that later. But Sofranel rebuilding that Static D, which means that Decibel is going to have a difficult time going for a lot of counterattacks. Fleet Beacon coming in, I think he saw the Broodlords, he was like, whoa, alright, I'm backing off. So, going into Fleet Beacon to get the Tempest up. Have a look at this Colossus, by the way. Pretty sick skin. I want to see more skins in StarCraft 2. R/StarCraft wants a lot more skins, so I kind of... whatever Reddit says, I kind of just follow, which in general is not a good life tip, but I stick to it. 3 more Stargates coming in, so as we can see, Decibel, he's trying to spend his money. I mean, he's only on 1900, he is maxed out, and he is on 5 bases, so he's doing a good job, but so is Sofranel. He's doing even better, keeping his money really low. And just rebuilding and building macro hatcheries so that you can reinforce and remax is so important in these late game stages. Sofranel may just have this hatchery cancelled once again by Decibel, and yes, he does cancel it, but he keeps his drone alive, so that is very handy for him. He can just rebuild immediately. The thing is, though, his army is being pulled out of position completely. He is so far away from his fourth, and Decibel knows this. Decibel saw everything, so now he's going to be moving into the fourth, where luckily Sofranel has a couple of spines in position, so we can technically delay this attack. Broodlords coming in, they're very slow, but they're finally here, and the Lurkers burrowing as well. Nice fungal on top of the Stalkers. They can no more longer blink or move about. Archons falling as well. They're not very effective against this type of army, and Sofranel, or Decibel rather, has basically his entire army split up. Fortunately, he's getting a lot of drone damage done with these Zealots, and he's instantly remaxing on Tempest, which is a very good choice. But that was a very cost-effective engagement for Sofranel. He cleaned up a lot of the army and didn't really lose a whole lot, I feel. In the units lost, they're still very even, but Zerg is slightly ahead in that regard. Ooh, Decibel trying to get a snipe on this hatch, and he is going to get it as well. No, nice transfuse. Can Decibel or Sofranel rather go for another transfuse? Oh, he keeps it alive with 8 HP. He keeps the hatchery alive. Not the most important of hatcheries. He's barely mining, but he does get a lot of larvae from it, so that is very nice. And 5 additional carriers coming in, just not going for the Tempest here, instead opting to go for the carriers. I don't know if I agree with that choice, really. Carriers, they aren't the best, and especially not against Corruptors. Tempest, if you got great control and you can micro them and kite with them, they can be so effective. But carriers, I don't know, man. It's going to be tricky to see. 2-2 finally finishing up for our Zerg player. As we can see, Protoss is slightly ahead, even starting to work on the shields upgrade to benefit the air units and the ground units, of course, as well. Another Broodlord coming in. If we have a look at supply, we have 190 of Zerg against 170 of Decibel, and Sofranel is finally going to be aggressive in this game. A lot of Tempests are here, though, pushing him back. That's so scary. He's got a bit of vision over here, so he knows that they're there, but just seeing a couple of lightning balls just shooting at you is kind of scary. Sofranel is going to be immediately focusing down this Nexus. I don't know about that. Somehow, someway, Decibel has managed to spend all of his money, so technically it is a good pickup, but had Decibel had a lot more money, it wouldn't have been the best, because he's sacking a lot of army to clean up that Nexus. Broodlords, though, getting a lot of damage done, and Sofranel is fighting these Tempests with pure Corruptors, which is exactly what he wants to do. These Tempests should be focusing down the Broodlords instead, but the Stalkers doing a nice job of dealing with those anyway. And it looks like Decibel is managing to hold on. And if we look at supply now, it was 190 to 170. Now it's 120 to 150. So nice win for our Protoss there. Unfortunately, he did lose the Nexus, so income should be dwindling here. He is down roughly 700 minerals a minute. And Decibel, I think he's going to try to be aggressive over on this 6th base. He's gonna try to deny all the mining of our Zerg, but a lot of Lurkers are in position, scaring this army away. Observer is here, though. Are there any Spore Crawlers? There's one Spore Crawler, and he can see the Observer just barely there. More Lurkers are just delaying this attack, and now Ultralisks are here as well. Ultralisks, I'm just gonna point this out, they're not the best against carriers. In case you don't know, they don't hit air, so I would say Corruptors are more important in this situation, and he does have a lot more Corruptors on the way. Vipers would be great, and 3 of them are in production right now. That, what's it called? The air damage thingy, I don't know, I can't remember what it's called, is very, very effective. Another Spire coming in, I guess for the double upgrades, +1 Muta or +1 air upgrade just now coming in, so he is very low on those air upgrades. Now Sofranel trying to go for a counterattack. Is it going to corrosive... No, what's it called? Caustic spray down any of these buildings? He may actually do so. Oh, and the Interceptors are left here by the carriers cleaning up Vipers. Whilst the carriers are moving back home. Here we go. Caustic spray coming down on this Nexus. And as you can see, that is going down very, very, very fast. And Sofranel going for a counterattack of his own. This is such a back and forth game, I feel. I don't know who's ahead at this stage. Oh my god, the Interceptors are still here, dealing so much damage. Ugh. Cleaning up everything. Are they gonna leave this one egg? Yes, they're not gonna get that final egg. So nice win for our Zerg. Sofranel now, he's done with one Nexus, going over to the next one. He's lost a lot of Corruptors in this trade, though. And the Phoenix that were built in the early game are still alive, dealing damage every which way over on this 6th base even. And still, both players somehow, someway spending all of their money. They're not mining that much, only 1300 and 600, but it's very difficult to spend a lot of money at this stage of the game and still be active with units, and they've both done just that. I mean, we saw the Phoenix fly by just recently, and the Corruptors cleaned up that Nexus as well. Now Decibel, I like his unit composition a lot more. Let's have a look at the units. We have 16 Hydralisks. They're going to be nice, but they're very squishy, so they die very easily. 80 HP only, and they only have 2-2 in the upgrades. Then we have 1 Broodlord, not going to do a whole lot against these Tempests. 7 Corruptors, he needs a lot more of those. And Vipers, there they are. How much energy is on these? Well, they do have a lot of energy. 182 and 183, they were built simultaneously. So, the Vipers need to land some sick... Oh, what's it called? The upgrade thingy. No, the ability thingy. I don't know. It's not Blinding Cloud. It's not Consume. It's not Abduct. Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. They need to land those. And Corruptors, killing off these Phoenix, they're just there for scouting. I think he's set them over there to see what's going on. And the Magic Core just recalls home. Where did they recall to? Did he recall to the main Nexus? Oh, he recalled over here. That's a bad choice. Decibel is so far out of position right now. I think like recalling over here would have been a lot better, because now his army is still here. Decibel, you need to move. Sophronel is coming in with a lot of stuff over here, and if he can't hold on to this 5th base, then that's just unfortunate. That's just really unfortunate for him, because he could have recalled over there instead. Fortunately, he has an air armada, so he doesn't really have to walk over there. He just flies. Corruptors, Abducts coming in really nice, picking up 3 carriers immediately. Corruptors should be focusing down these carriers, not working on the interceptors. And Ultralisk starting to get to work on these buildings. They don't really have a whole lot else to kill. Hydralisk still alive as well. Corruptors able to, I think, take this down. I think Sophronel is going to do it at this point. Yes, he's got enough Hydralisks to bring down these Tempests. But what is Decibel building? Decibel is not producing anything at all. He's only got 300 in the bank. A lot of Archons coming in though. Are they going to be enough? They do take down the first Ultralisk, but Sophronel, I think, just has too much at this stage. Tempest goes down as well, and with 1600 in the bank, Sophronel is building 15 Hydralisks to reinforce this. And keep in mind, Decibel has this base over here, so he's still mining a lot. If we go to the income, it's basically even, so he can continue to warp in, and he's got defender's advantage with the mudship core, etc. So eventually, he's going to clean this up. He will. He's got a few cannons over here as well. They can add some damage, just a tiny bit. The Broodlord over here just hacking away. He may just die to this Archon. Or he may just stay alive. The Stark's gonna clean him up. Sophronel still reinforcing. He unburrowed all of the lurkers that were positioned over here. He wants to bring everything and really break down. Oh my god, a Queen transfusing the Broodlord even. He wants to bring everything right now and totally break Decibel down. The thing is though, Decibel doesn't really care about this location. All he's got is a couple of warp gates. Breaking down, sending a couple of links over here would be so much more effective. Though it is nice for Sophronel to reduce the reinforcement capability of the Protoss player, cleaning up pylons, cleaning up gateways. It is very nice, but if he would have killed off the income, Decibel would have already been dead at this stage. It does still have double Stargate and like 4 or 5 Stargates and double Robo, so he still can produce even without these warp gates, but I consider this a win. He played really well, but Sophronel in the end, just too much stuff. Amazing game, GG. It really was a cool game. He's only played like 20 games, the Legacy of the Void. I think going for carriers might have been a mistake. No, they were very effective, but I honestly don't know. I don't play enough Protoss these days to know what the best late game composition is against Zerg, but Sophronel able to take this game, even though he was only on 2-2 in the end. 3-3 would have made a huge difference, but Sophronel, the master player, able to take out our Diamond Protoss. So hope you all enjoyed this cast. Please leave any feedback that you have for me in the comments, or just anywhere that you can find me on Twitter at DistrictSC. Or, you know, check out the SCVrush stream, scvrush.challenge.com or twitch.tv/scvrush. Have some fun and play in our tournament. But other than that, that is going to be it. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.